Alright, guys, what is up? This is Lucas Gantyogi back again with the final episode of The Boy Wonder. So, I'm just going to start off the few things why, rather, this is my last episode. So, in case you don't know, this also being video recorded on my camera. So, I'll be posting this one on my YouTube. So, those who are interested in checking out my old episodes, they could still watch it on Spotify. But yeah, this is going to be my last episode of The Boy Wonder. And I'm going to tell that reason later on as we tackle on this episode of The Boy Wonder. But this is just some of the few things that I want to discuss. The quarantine updates, Radio Flamingo. It's a thing that I've been part into, and then since it's already August, we're having my online classes start. So this school year has started already, and it's my first sem. As obviously, it's my first semester, and yeah, we're dealing everything through online. We're doing online class, and this is and the last part of this podcast is basically why am I ending the Boy Wonder podcast. But anyways, let's get started. So quarantine, what's new? Well, nothing's new. No, nothing's new with our situation here in Philippines. Wala nagbago, alam niyo naman 'yun. And um it's been like what 5 months already, and the reason why I want to discuss that is because of how quarantine affected our health. Like um we've discussed that before with my friends Wax and Inigo. And yeah. And quarantine, something about it has changed it. The way how I see things, the way how I should act upon things. Because um well, I just turned 21 recently, 2 weeks ago. So happy birthday to me. And things started to shift. I tend to become more what do you call this? Curious. I I shifted to become more something anxious. I'm becoming anxious because I'm still dependent on my parents, and that's one thing that I should shrug off, I guess, because it doesn't help at all. It doesn't help me at all to get work things done, regardless of the situation we're in. And I couldn't help that I'm still studying. I am still We're still in quarantine, so why would I move out on the time of crisis, right? But yeah, I mean, for a guy of year of age of 21, I mean, it doesn't have to be like that, no. But given our situation here in our family, I don't know. I've put myself too much in the pressure that um, for the past month or for the past 2 months, July and August, I've been caught off guard. I've been caught off guard, and I'm pretty much overwhelmed because there are a lot of things that happened within these few months of this 2020. And kind of to believe it, it's hard to believe that we're already halfway of 2020, and by next month we have the Burr months already coming in. And it's a struggle that I have to face. I just didn't hope that this would be the thing that I would face in the age of 21, or even in the middle of 20s. But it's or I rather early 20s. But it's the thing that I would really need to face. But yeah. So along with the pressure that I put myself into of the age of 21, because I still don't know how to drive, and I still got have anything license or any permits, student permit even for that matter. I still don't have them at all. and it's pretty much impractical right now to do some driving school because again, we're in lockdown, we're still in quarantine, we're still trying to save much money as we can so as just to survive basically in this pandemic. And mahirap para sa akin mamuhay knowing na ganito yung pinipressure ko yung sarili ko, and ang hirap lang tanggalin sa sarili ko na, oh Lucas, wag ka lang ma-pressure, kaya mo yan, it's just part of living, it's just part of becoming at this age, this quarter life crisis. And sure, sige, pero I don't know, it's just when you put it like that context, it's basically for me, it's like you're trying to dismiss what I feel. It's like a part of me is dismissing of what I feel. A part of what they say about it is being dismissed of what I feel, and I don't like being dismissed. No one likes to be dismissed, of course, but I don't know. Things happen like that. In a positive note, well, um, in my organization, in my college org, not only am the multimedia arts and creatives head no longer, well, I still am, but I'm also the vice president for external affairs. So that's kind of a new thing here in quarantine, but I will discuss that rather later on. And then what else? What's new on this quarantine? Well, I got a new setup, so well, still the same here, but you might be seeing on those who are watching on YouTube. Well, you're probably seeing this mixer. Well, I haven't discussed yet as well on my vlogs, but it's soon to be discussed as well as time goes by. And no, I'm not making any music at all. I'm just like listening to good quality sound music because who could get enough with those bass, those trebles, those highs and low frequencies? Yeah, that's pretty much what's the difference with me right now. I'm still fat, or rather, being putting much a lot of weight, and it's really hard for me to do some exercise, especially now. Uh, I'm basically stressing out myself here with work in terms of graphics, video, photo, not no longer. So yeah, about that, time has changed into the point na I've decided myself na hindi na ako magpe-pursue ng photography, like career wise or something related to that, just more of a really a hobby because ang daming kailangang pag-aralan sa photo na I don't have any longer the passion nor rather the grit as well, because ewan ko, kumbaga ang dami ko nang natutunan. Like in this quarantine, I also managed to learn for so long, for so many years na alam ko na sila before pero never ko silang mismong ginawa, is using Illustrator and After Effects. And I've been so grateful for myself na nagawa ko kasi ang tagal ko na silang ginusto kasi it's part of what I envisioned back then, kung ano yung gusto kong makamit in the first place. And yeah, I'm so glad given the struggles na hinaharap ko sa computer ko, I still manage. I mean, a dual core processor, a 1 terabyte 5400 RPM, decent or bare minimum graphics card with a 2 gigs VRAM. Very technical, but it's all essentials in here. But I manage. The fact na nakakuha kong racket or freelance project, na nakuha ko ng RAM for 16 gig for only 3,500 pesos. Now, it's sure it's expensive, pero mura na siya for its value, for its the market here in the Philippines. Sobrang mura na siya for its price. And yeah, I'm so glad I'm achieving a lot more things more than ever because, excuse me, because again, it's those things na hindi ko expect in the first place na magagawa ko, but it happened. And I'm so grateful for things that hindi ko expect, but it happened. Kasi um hindi naman ako yung tipong tao na kapag sobrang hindi feasible, hindi ko naman sila paplano sa okay, let's try this. Let's do that without any assurances of all, without certainties. I'm dealing with uncertainties and risk, and I don't know what could it cost, but here am I doing a lot more things more than ever, and I'm so glad it happened. But along during the quarantine, after an ending a project, uh, I wouldn't say that I was depressed because I'm not the person who would self-diagnose himself or herself to say that I'm depressed, because that's a no-no, of course. But after editing this one big project of I did back then during when we were still in the heaviest, the strictest lockdown or quarantine level here in the Philippines. Sobrang hirap kasi sobrang taxing. Dahil sobrang tagal ng project na yun, and masakit lang para sa akin dahil wala akong parang naging compensation for that. Knowing na it's a wear and tear for my laptop, and for what do I get in return, 'di ba? Like, di naman ako sumakwentong tao, pero at least when you give someone a job, you have to, I don't know, obviously pay them up because that's his or her profession, na hinihingi mo yung service sa nila. So, service pero wala kang bibigay sa kanila, 'di ba? It's um it's pretty much difficult for us, but I'm glad this situation grew up on me, because first of all, it took the best out of me because sobrang na-drain talaga ako sa project nito. And di naman ako sa di naman sa no, umiyak ako dahil sobrang nakawala ng gana. It's one of those reasons kung bakit maraming individuals who are aspiring to pursue the lines of the industry of arts, even just being an editor. Ang daming aspiring dyan sa labas, and to be treated like this, sobrang it degrades all of us. I'm ashamed of myself for not standing up for myself. Only then nag-stand up ako no after ng project, in which that shouldn't be the situation or the case. Rather, kung alam mo lugi ka na in the first place, you should know how to stand up for yourself. If you know you're being fucked up, you should know how you stand for yourself, because if not, then continuously after project you'll be just fucked up, and magiging sayang lang dahil may isip mo na lang nun, ba't pa ako nag-pursue nito? Why did I still choose to pursue this if I don't get something in return? Like, ako, for instance, minsan there are things na I just don't do it for the money. I just do it because I love, especially when I love working with these people. Gugustuhin mo. You would want it. But again, it's still service. No? It's still service na kailangan pa rin silang i-pay up because you're doing something not just from their time, I mean, of course, yes, it's their time. Lalo na nasa bahay lang tayo. It's a kind of work from home experience. And um again, if this would be my last episode of the podcast, I would probably still make another episode of a continuation rather of our struggles as artists. Rather, I would even consider myself as an artist rather just an editor. Would just coincidentally speaking know all of these things as well. But I would just consider myself as an editor. Um, yeah, medyo naghalit ako dun. Pero again, it's one of the highlights kasi ng aking quarantine, the first half of quarantine, because I don't know, after that project, sabi ko, wala mo na akong i-edit, wala mo na akong racket, kasi I don't feel like I I would even be get paid for first of all. So I really took my time to rest dahil masakit sa part ko na wala akong nakuha in return. Like, sure, I'm a freelancer. Like, sure, I don't have a I don't have a job. I'm still a student, but come on, service is still service. You have to give credit where credit is due. I mean, it's still service. I don't know how to expound that more. Rather, service is still service. And yeah, that's pretty much quarantine. If I miss something, well, let's just leave it there. No, kasi um ang dami kong natutunan, or rather ang dami kong I learned a lot of things in this situation, to the point that I thank God my mind shifted, my heart shifted to say no, to to ano yun, to delegate ba, tama ba, I'm not sure, but the simplest idea of saying no to others is something na very relief. I'm so relief of it because dati every time may lalapit sa akin, ay Lucas, pwede ka ba? Oy, Lucas, can you puro yes ako eh. Dahil kaibigan ko yung mga yan, ang hirap pag say no. I don't know how to say no without being rude, or rather without being interpreted as rude, no? Kasi some of people, no, dyan sa iba, because my friend knows this because he experienced it too. Ayaw lang niya makipag-collab, pero yun lang. Ayaw lang niya makipag-collab. May mali siya ba doon? Ayaw lang niya, 'di ba? He just doesn't want to collaborate, and now it's becoming a beef. It's becoming an issue. We're in, wow. So they are basically, or we rather, are obliged to say yes, even if we have the choice to say no. It's like you're saying na uh like this, ano, I don't know, parang if this guy wanted to court this woman, doesn't yung babae ba, wala ba siyang choice para to say no? Of course they have the choice to say no. It's their choice, it's their will to say no or yes. But mo kukunin sa nila yon na, wow, they did this for me, na sobrang laki ng effort, they should have to say yes. Ang ano, 'di ba, ang mali, it's so wrong, because again, you're taking out that choice from them, which in the first place it shouldn't be the case. So yeah, I mean, people have to realize that it's very toxic for um for to take against that person who just said no. And also, it's very toxic when you don't give a proper compensation to your for those people who have work in dealing this project. It's just something I would like to remind sa mga aspiring graphic editors or artists, sa mga videographers, photographers, or anyone in the art industry. Know your worth. Learn how to say no. And most importantly, huwag kang matakot. Huwag kang matakot na paglabanan mo yung sarili mo when you know yourself that you're being fucked up. Because or else, you'd be actually be fucked up. No? Kasi a worst case scenario dyan is aayaw mo na maging like you would totally leave the passion, you would leave the grit in there sa ere, and sayang din naman yung oras na invest mo. Again, it's not just money that you invested on, it's the emotions, it's the time, ininvest mo rin yan, diba? Sayang lahat, syempre. Kung yung tipong sabihin mo na ganito lang pa rin palang mangyari, di sana na gano'n na ako, di ba? Ang pangit pakinggan. And we don't have to blame it on, I don't know, we have to blame it on the system, on how the system works, because it's very problematic, it's very wrong at the moment. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that I would like to note, because ito yung mga natutunan ko during quarantine. Okay. Next up, Radyo Flamingo. What's Radyo Flamingo all about? Well, during this quarantine, I've managed to listen more one of the OPM new bands. Well, technically not, because they've been for 7 years now, but knowing OPM went underground around 2015, parang nag-submerge lang yan ulit sa mainstream and whatnot. Kumbaga, it's one of those bands, no? If you know O Flamingo, well, here's basically O Flamingo, no? Back in April 24, they managed to release an EP of which entitled Volumes. You probably heard it on Spotify, probably, or even heard or read some articles about it, no? And I really love their songs to the point na pati yung buong discography nila, nagustuhan ko na sila. And since we're all under quarantine, they managed to release the EP on a Minecraft server type release gig, and it was fun dahil it's one of a kind of experience on how to release your EP without doing what do they call that, like mass gathering, no? Dahil obviously when it comes to releasing of your EPs or your albums, of course there's a mass gathering in a bar or pub. Well, we cannot do that, of course, so they managed to do this. And then they also managed to put up a Discord server, and they do their weekly internet radio show called Radio Flamingo or Radio Flamingo, whatever you're comfortable with. And for so many episodes or sessions that I've been into, considering that started around April or May, ang dami kong natutunan sa kanila, and I've learned so many things about them and about what the society, the reality of living life, because ayun nga, it's going back with turning 21, because I still feel it. I still feel a lot of pressure in my mind, in my body, that I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to be independent more and more. Regardless of this pandemic, I have to rely on myself, because time and time will tell that I would be living alone, no? And over the past few months kasi, it's like I'm thinking of during or what's supposed to be my internship by next year on my 4th year, 2nd semester, that I'm thinking if rather I would live alone in an apartment or live with my classmates in an apartment as well. So it's either I have roommates or I'm just alone. But I like the idea of living alone because gives me more free um it gives me the more bigger room, the bigger space to be more um self-taught, to be more to be smart, not just being intellectual smart, like being street smart and everything, because obviously with this kind of work that I want in a production house, obviously I would go to Manila, to Makati, no. And again, I've learned so many things from that kasi knowing of Flamingo, they are millennials, and since I'm Gen Z, more or less I would rather learn things from millennials than boomers or baby boomers, because obviously dahil millennials ang parang magiging current generation of the working industry, na sila mismo yung sasakop sa buong, or mostly sila yung sasakop sa trabaho ngayon, sa workforce ngayon, regardless of what industries that is. Sila yung pinaka marami ngayon, obviously, dahil, well, obviously age, no. And yeah, I guess ganun. And coming from strangers na hindi ko gaano kakilala, dahil hindi ko sila kaano sa college, hindi ko sila sa high school, hindi ko sila sa elementary, hindi ko rin sila relatives, hindi ko rin sila na meet na mutual friends of in school. It's a whole different person na meet ko online, and all of them are coming from the south. I'm from north. Not even in Manila. I'm in the province, Pampanga. Well, I would like rather to remove that stigma na taga-probinsya lang kami. No, we're not that. Tingnan mo. I'm not trying to flex on that part, pero I hope as well na matanggal na rin sa stigma yung idea na taga-probinsya lang kami, because even those who are living in provinces, they can also do so much more, and if not more, than those who are living in the capital region. Not to degrade them, but rather to help them as well. Dahil I would rather see myself helping one another, even those who are having difficult times in the capital region, rather than being on top of them, because I would rather be on top of the mountain, knowing na wala akong tinatapakan, or wala akong binibuild up na hatred against anyone who steps or who are in front of me, no. I would rather reach out, dahil I would rather use the proper crab mentality, na rather than pulling them down, we pull them upward, 'di ba? 'Di ba ang sarap pakinggan? 'Di ba? So, yeah. Again, in this age, I don't know if some people at the same age of mine kung na-experience din nila to, because given the situation na wala yung kuya ko dito, my brother isn't here, he's in Dubai, and I'm basically second in command, or third in command rather, because father, mother, then I have my older sister, but she's PWD, so that makes me the third in charge, considering we still have a baby brother. And again, there are a lot of responsibilities that I have to do now, because I wouldn't say they oblige me in the first place, but rather I have to set my mind na may darating na panahon na i-oblige na nila ako, and before that time comes, I would rather take those responsibilities now, para at least ako natututo na ako before I even reach up mid-20s. Because in the early 20s, no, parang I feel like there's a lot of leeway to learn more, and to create mistakes. No, not intentionally speaking, but rather, ang laki pa ng room mo to commit mistakes accidentally, wherein na you would learn from that. You would learn from mistakes. We create mistakes to learn, not to, ano ba yun, manira ng ibang tao or ng kanilang feelings or kanilang, I don't know, like, I would rather create mistakes just because it was an accident, not being intention, without the intent of it, no? Kasi when you create mistakes, isa lang inaasahan ko, matuto tayo dyan. We learn from our mistakes, because that's basically life. And we are humans. We are bound to create mistakes. We are bound to create something, or rather destroy something, no? But we promise ourselves, or we'd rather commit ourselves to become better individuals, so that we won't create the same mistakes that we had. And that's what Radyo Flamingo is doing every now and then. Parang I'm trying to learn everything, even just in a casual setting, no? And I'm really proud of it, because I would have thought na during quarantine na, ay, chill lang tayo dito, laro lang tayong COD M dito, laro tayo ng PUBG dito, magti-TikTok lang tayo dito, Netflix, ganyan, laro, no, you know. In this quarantine, in this lockdown, I managed to learn more about life than I was doing my routine, like going to school or something like that, no. I mean, sure, I still learn a lot of things from that perspective, but given if na bibigyan mong oras talaga for you to learn yourself in a much specified situation, no, mas gugustuhin ko na to. Bakit? Kasi tutok siya. Again, it come from millennials, no. I would really learn a lot from them, because they are basically the now people who are living just the few months back, or few years back, and now. At least may point of comparison ako kung once ako mismo nag-start na. Dahil cliche as it sounds, malaki talaga yung gap between us from our parents, and their times during their teenage years or young adult years is very different from us. Kaya mas applicable kung millennials ang tumuturo sa atin. That's just a reminder for Gen Z people. We do not need to discredit ang mga tinuturo sa ating mga millennials, because we could probably take a lesson, a one or two from them. The same way goes with our parents or relatives. We could still learn some few things from them. We do not need to dismiss anyone kung ano yung mga tinuturo nila sa atin, because who knows, it might be still helpful rather, no? I mean, take all of the pieces of advice. It may be still useful for all of us. Not now, not near now, but probably in the long future, where things na meron na tayong anak mismo, 'di ba? And I learned a lot of things, and still learning a lot of things from them, because even them naman kasi they are still trying to figure out, no, the fact they are not just working, they still have their corporate lives, but by night, ayun, they play for people, they play music, you know, arts and noble jobs combining. It's very difficult, I guess. I don't know how people would endure that, working on those matter or situations, but yeah, I learned a lot of things and learning still, and I'm definitely thankful for O Flamingo for putting up this big thing. Not just for me, but even siguro for anyone out there who's also listening, who would find it very interesting for them dahil natuturo sila, no, not just life but also in their industry. I guess in this time lalo akong natuto sa lalo akong lalo akong namulat sa katotohanan kung ano meron sa industriya ng musika dito sa Pilipinas. Wow, straight Filipino, no? So yeah, that's pretty much Radio Flamingo all about, and I'm very thankful for it, and I have no regrets joining in the first place. So moving on with the online class. So before we start with the online class itself, I would like to focus first on our college organization. Dahil last episode ko na rin, ibabanggatin ko na rin, no? I'm studying in Holy Angel University with taking up Bachelor of Arts in Communications. I'm not majoring or anything, just the whole broad of communications. And this organization that I'm part of is the Communicators League. It's our official organization of the communication students. And last school year, I was basically the multimedia arts and creatives head. But now, well, I'm still MAC head, but I'm also now the vice president for external affairs. Well, there are not a lot of events that are going on or happening right now because obviously we have still the pandemic here and cases are still on the rise, no? So it would be pointless to have event with physical or mass gathering, and that would break laws basically, no? But I got overwhelmed regardless of no events or what. The fact I'm now a vice president of an org, medyo shocking for me dahil hindi ko expect in the first place to have this kind of opportunity to lay upon on me, no? But given the task, or rather given the learnings na nakuha ko during quarantine, I somehow managed to apply them everything on the org na hindi ko expect din in the first place dahil sobrang iba yung workload ko before and now, pero I managed to change it up a bit, no? And yeah, that's pretty much the organization part, no? And we just had our general assembly with a virtual production. Like, I would say, proudly to say, it's a different kind of production that we did so far in our school, and I'm proud of it regardless of the small quirks na hindi ko makontrol. Thank you, Zoom. But going furthermore with the online class, to be honest, hindi ko siya gusto. Sinabi ko na before, and I'm going to say it again. Online class, regardless of what situation we're in, it's not very favorable for all people because it's most of it pang ano lang, para sa mga privilege lang talaga. I mean, I would say I'm privileged because obviously I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm so privileged enough that I'm so grateful for my parents to have this, to have all of this, and dumating pa sa punto na pati yung pag-aaral namin nadamay. And I wouldn't say that, sure, I'm favor of academic freeze, pero at what cost? Yung faculty walang trabaho nun for a year. Yung mga staff wala silang trabaho for a year. And sino pa yung walang trabaho? Marami rin. Maraming sector in the education na mawawala ng trabaho for a year. And we cannot even rely everything on business dahil not everyone are gifted to do business. The same with not everyone are gifted to do arts. And we have to acknowledge that. That's why, yun yung unique sa ating mga tao. Hindi tayo pare-parehas. May kanya-kanya tayong strengths and weaknesses. You may be a jack of all trades and master of everything. And you should be grateful for it. Dahil, not everyone has the opportunity to be given or to be gifted at that certain level, no? Kaya going back with online class, sobrang hirap dahil I wouldn't blame our professors. I wouldn't blame them because I love our professors so much. No sarcasm in here, no. I really love them. They are very considerate of our situation every each student, no. Sadly, hindi ganun sa ibang department. And we're seeing that reports in different publications ng ibang department sa school namin, of course. But sobrang sakit na kasi dahil hindi ko expect pati yung ibang classmates namin hindi makakapag-enroll, and that hurts us so much dahil wala sila in the first place. Second, ang mahirap kasi is that last year parang sobrang saya na namin dahil we were able to do a lot of projects, well, finals namin and midterms, no. But given the chemistry, yon, camaraderie, no, yung pakikisama namin, our togetherness as one, sobrang dikit na to the point na we were so ready for our third year in college, to do limitless, to do anything that's possible because the sky is our limit. Yun lang naman. Sobrang saya na namin dahil marami na kami nagawa to the point na anything na ibibigay sa amin ng mga prof, kaya namin. That's how positive, that's how we were so strong with ourselves because tulong-tulong kami. Kaya we achieve these things is because we help one another. But to see this thing, to see ourselves be drained as fucked more than being in the classroom, no. Minsan mas maganda na yung maging mo-confine ka sa isang lugar na kung saan hiwalay pa rin ang pag-aaral mo, yung mga problema mo sa pag-aaral at yung magiging problema mo sa bahay. It's the same thing with work from home setup. Mas maganda na yung ma-confine ka sa isang cubicle mo rather than working in from home with all of those problems na considering mag-overtime ka pa, mag-OT ka pa, tapos nasa bahay ka lang din. 'Di ba? Ang sakit. And it's not trying to dismiss our it's not to dismiss yung magiging problema namin, ang problema ng mga iba, but it's just that mahirap din talaga siya for ourselves dahil sobrang laking transition ang kailangan maganap before fully matrabuhan to, because if not, kami rin nangyari, no. And again, it's the pressure is everything is on us dahil lahat nakalatag and sobrang overwhelming lang kapag nilatag sa yung lahat. And I don't know, it's that part of uncertainties na gusto kong di malaman in the first place para at least may thrill. Kasi yun yung maganda eh, may halong thrill pa rin eh, kahit pa paano. It creates that balance, no, of learning. I mean, It's still school, it's still college, and I still love learning. No, who doesn't love to learn even just the simple things? But yeah, that's pretty much online class. Sobrang nakakalungkot lang na maging ganun yung experience ng lang mga tao. And now we're down to the last episode. Or yeah, exactly. The last episode. I'm here now to discuss why my podcast is ending after just 11 episodes na it's not even enough. Well, first of all, sobrang sobrang thankful ako dahil in the first place nagawa ko to dahil last year I wouldn't even think myself na magagawa ko yung podcast na to, but I managed to do it, and I managed to learn more than just making the podcast itself. But the thing is, it was very difficult for me to think fast, to think vastly as well. Dahil ang plano ko before was weekly meron akong panibagong episode. But given how I port or landscape my podcast, no, sobrang hirap para sa akin to think of a topic. Yun yung problema. So sobrang broad. Akala ko sa sobrang broad madali lang. Pero sa sobrang broad, lalo pa ako nahihirapan. Ewan ko ba, I guess, if there's one thing that I learned from podcasts is still the same thing. You have to be spontaneous of everything. Of how you think, of how you speak, of how you write. Dahil, it's still a discourse of your own thoughts, of your own mind, no? And if there's lacking from me is the ideas na kailangan kong pag-usapan. Ewan, mahirap kasi siya. Mahirap talagang pag-isipan mismo dahil syempre, apart from my school and org, or aside from those things, no, meron pa ako nito, and mahirap bigyan ng oras mismo if you're not, or rather I would say I devoted my time, but marami lang talaga on my shoulders na kailangan ko ibuhat, and there are some things that I have to let go, and this is one of them. Same thing with photography. I dropped photography because I feel like I'm not being creative much any longer. And it's okay for me to drop it because I still have video and graphics, and I'm fine with those. Kung ganun na lang maging creative ko, kasi if I put this creativity here and then 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 here, ang hirap i-describe ko ano yung masterpiece para sa akin. Like, I know somewhere may ano pa rin ako dyan, may masterpiece pa rin ako dyan, pero I just don't know where or what is the medium of all of it. Kaya binibitawan ko muna ito in the first place to rethink of everything that I know, because I know so much everything now na I don't think it's very helpful for it. Kaya I'm dropping everything that I can. I'm unlearning things to learn more, no? But who knows? I could still create a podcast soon with a specific theme or topic, but not now. Hindi muna sa ngayon. Dahil there is just going so many things in my plate and I couldn't handle of it everything. Like, titignan nyo, like I said kanina, nahihirapan na ako sa quarantine. And my last episode was when? May 24 pa, ang tagal na. Pero I'm so glad it had 25 plays, no? um, Hindi ko expect in the first place kasi paano ba to? Parang it's just doing my thing. I'm just doing my thing na okay, may nakikinig. Thank God. Parang gano'n. At least may nakikinig na 1 or 2. Okay lang ako dun. As long as may nabibigay kaming, or rather, may nabibigay akong informasyon para sa mga tao, and I'm comfortable with that. Regardless of many or how many plays na naganap, I'm so glad that it even reached at least 109. No? 109 total plays. And I'm still glad na umabot ako ng 100. No? It's a small thing, but I'll take it. It's okay. It's regardless of how small or big the achievement is, I still take it because I'm just very thankful in the first place para sa mga taong nag-thank you or nagko-congrats sa akin for pulling this off, no? And makita ko ba mo naman sa Spotify nila, or rather sa Instagram stories nila na they're listening to this podcast na, oh my God guys, thank you so much, no? Parang ganun bang feeling? Ang hirap kasi na parang magsalita ka in front of others pero walang nakikinig sa'yo, di ba? Parang mahirap yun. Parang ganito yung naging challenge ko, pero I'm so glad that I took it because again, going back with the first episode, no, I took this upon myself to learn more about hosting, speaking, radio DJ. There are a lot of applications na this kind of jump started everything about it, no? And I'm so glad it happened because if cliche as it sounds, if it weren't for this, I wouldn't be in the place where I'm right now. There would be even an episode 11 of this, diba? And yeah, I don't know how to expound that more, but I'm really glad these things happened. And considering yung last episode ko was last year, it's more than a year now, I guess if di ako nagkakamali, nag-start ako July pala, but again, I'm past 1 year now, and sadly bibitawan ko na siya, pero I have to accept it. I have to accept it first, but yeah, masaya na ako sa anumang meron ko ngayon dito. Like, kung ano man yung natupad ko dito, okay na ako. Dahil it reached me at places na hindi ko narating before. And I'm okay with that. So, yeah. For those people na pinakinggan itong mga episodes ko, thank you so much, guys. It meant a lot for me because regardless of the compliments that you all made, ang okay lang sa akin is makinig kayo at may matutunan kayo. Just even for a guy who is a bit sleepy right now, pero kinakaya niya, pero porsigido pa rin niyang gawin, and he's very happy for it because he enjoyed those precious messages na hindi sa pinapakinggan ako, rather may natutunan sila sa akin. And I'm okay with that. Or rather, I'm happy with that. No. So, yeah. Maraming salamat po sa mga nanood. And I would like also to thank those people who have managed to listen to my podcast, from those people in the United States, Ireland, United Kingdom, and United Arab Emirates. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. And for those who are listening on Spotify and Anchor, and even on those other platforms, I thank you guys so much for listening. And yeah, this has been Lucas Ganchoki, signing off from the Boy Wonder. See you all soon.